Hello world, Asset Management Visionaries shaping tomorrow. Stay tuned because we have a super guest. I'll tell you now, Jeff Smith. Stay tuned. Hello world, Asset Management Visionaries shaping tomorrow. Maura Abad reporting one more episode of Asset Management Visionaries. And today I'm super honored because we have Senior Reliability Leader, Jeff Smith. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, Maura, and how are you?
Very good. I'm even better now that I have your presence here because every time I get to talk to you, I learn something new.
Well, I appreciate that. I spent a lot of years learning what I know.
And why not to take a little bit advantage with our community, learning about asset management and what Jeff Smith is doing. So let's start with you, Jeff. Tell the world, who is Jeff Smith?
Well, I have the title subject matter expert, but as I always state, I consider myself a student of reliability. It's such a big field and can be applied so many different ways that to truly master it, I don't know if you could do that. Now, in the path of mastering it, I've spent 35 years studying it in various different industries that, right from trade level through to high corporate level jobs with multi countries and multi sites and stuff. So, it's just been standing in the inquiry, as we would state at Reliability Web, and for many years, and really around every aspect of it from, any one of our domains. I've really dove deep in many domains in it, in many different industries. It's been quite a ride.
Yes, and quite a ride. That's right. I know, Jeff, 11 years and counting, I have to say. And one of the things that I love the most about you is that you are so genuine and humble, I should say. I remember the first time you said, I am a student. I'm like, wow, it was really impactful because you continue learning. Tell us a little bit about that pathway of learning. What is next for Jeff Smith?
Well, I'm not sure. We're finishing up the domain level training stuff that we've been working on. I mean, with Reliability Web having this such 26 years of depth of knowledge of conferences, presentations, and to compile it into a level of training. To me it's the output is training, but for me it's a learning exercise because you don't want to put anything in the material that you can't validate or understand or really clearly convey. Like I always love Einstein's theory that your quote, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. So to take our training material and make it so that you can understand it in a simple format allows me the opportunity to really learn it and study it. So, again, with the Uptime management system, the IoT stuff we've developed, now the domain level training, I think we've got some pretty amazing stuff out there.
And well, we know with the Uptime Elements framework, there is specific domain, the yellow, on asset management. What is the take of you about asset management? What is asset management in a simple word, like you said, Albert Einstein? Tell us about that simplicity. What is asset management?
If you look through the history of sort of the reliability world, I mean, you start back in 55 with Buscalero inventing vibration analysis, and 78 Nolan and Heap released RCM, and this sort of scenario grew. Now, asset management grew from two fields. It grew from the people that have your asset registry and the accounting and, like how many chairs you have, how many machines you have, how many, that world, and us in the maintenance reliability world, we sort of merged them. That's when Terrence was running the US tag on ISO 55000. I was in Calgary when we ratified it, and we're sort of trying to convey what it is. But asset management, true asset management, is really the systems you put in place to manage your assets. It isn't about managing assets, it's the systems you put in place and in play to ensure you get value from your assets.
Why do you think not many companies are implementing asset management? What do you think is the constraint?
Well, part of it is the awareness, right? Which I really like with Terrence bringing out this Uptime management system, making it clear and concise and easy. The departments are siloed, and asset management is not a silo thing. If you exclude, say I exclude my human resources group from the conversation, I've got a gap. It's like a chain with one link missing. It does nothing. So asset management has to be so holistic and integrated. Now, I think the awareness is starting. I really think organizations are starting to become more and more aware that it is, it's not 100 conversations, it's really one conversation. Aligning your asset management strategies to your corporate objectives. That's why, as you know, it starts mission, vision, and values, policy, and then strategy. It has to be packaged in such a way that we don't leave any department out, we don't leave anyone out.
So would you say asset management is everybody's responsibility?
That's with reliability. Who's responsible for reliability? Everybody is. So many industries are still stuck in the, if you go to them and ask who is responsible for reliability, they will point at the reliability engineer, him. Okay, yes, he's calculating the math, he's doing Weibull plots, he's doing statistical analysis, he's maybe developing reliability strategies, but that doesn't mean operations couldn't run the machines at a different level or way, and so everyone has to compute or integrate to be able to deliver that value. Now, having the umbrella of asset management, it allows you a focal point, so that every different level travels up the tree to the peak of the focal point of asset management. So you have that line of sight to your mission, vision, and values and objectives. Everything you do in your organization, everything you do in Reliability Web should have a line of sight to that mission, vision, and values, which is so critical.
It is critical indeed. Tell us a little bit about the history, what you saw before with asset management, what is happening now, and what do you see 5 years from now?
That's a good one, because watching, I've been in this game for many years. I've worked high level corporate, and I've worked a lot of places. But I go early in my career and look at I love where I've made mistakes. I look at I was with a national railway in Canada, CP Rail, and I was managing work equipment for heavy haul systems. So I looked after track maintenance for most of Canada. So very high level job that I was doing, and I had no idea what to do or how to do it. I had no idea how to put together strategies and strategic asset management plans. So the whole world at that point, I am going back and I'm dating myself, but that was at least 35 years ago. And we just did what we thought was right, but our focus in time was the moment. Our focus in time wasn't the future. So as we've evolved, we've started taking this forward look. Like when I was early in my career, there's nobody mentioned life cycle engineering. It wasn't even a term. You didn't think of, how do I get maximum value out of this over its life cycle? Now, asset management has really given us that broader look, but we are on the cusp of a new world. It's a demographic shift as big as electrification was. You look at, early days, they used steam engines and line shafts in factories, and then along come electric motors, and everybody's, they're going to put me out of my job, sort of thing. And, like electrification was like a major step forward. With AI and where we're at right now, we are on the cusp of not just having a decision, like a CEO 10 years ago even. He's making a decision going, well, I think maybe we should have less people here, or I think maybe we should acquire this. I think, well, now the decisions are because of the AI on top of the plethora of data. The decisions we can make are valid and they're quantified and they're understandable. So I just think we're at a cusp where we're going to go logarithmically better, not linear. For many years we've been linear, but we're right at this cusp of where everything's going to go logarithmic. And 10 years from now, asset management is not the same conversation. The things that are guesses are going to be knowns.
Where do you see yourself in the bigger picture with asset management?
Well, I consider myself a bit of an evangelist. I want to convey the message. I want people to hear it and understand it, because I've simply, I have this motivation, and my motivation has really never been for companies to make more profit. It's never been for, for fame or recognition. It's always been because good, solid asset management practices make sustainable companies that are better, safer places to work. So if I can make the person on the floor level understand that we now do things better, and my job is safe and secure, and I don't get called in on the weekends. I'm healthy. That's the goal. So myself, I continue my journey wherever it takes me, with however I'm conveying it. But I believe in it. I can't hate to use the word preach, but I can't think of another word. I can't not preach the subject. So whatever I do, it will be conveying the knowledge.
It's so right what you're saying. It's about people at every level connecting. What is the picture for me in asset management, how I am connecting? And it's that self-awareness at the end of it all.
Not just self-awareness, but an awareness of how you interact with others, right? Awareness how others perceive you. So many people, project. Like for example, you say something in the asset management realm, you'll explain something in the asset management realm, and they put that within their context and they project the meaning onto that, right? So, you of course, to be aware of others, you got to be aware of self. I've personally done a lot of healing work and tried to, understand myself better so I could then interact better with others. Again, it rolls up from asset management because there's people. At the end of the day, it's people. You can call them departments, you can call them silos, you call them whatever you want, but it's groups of people that need to cross-communicate and pollinate that information to optimize it to really, truly deliver the value we're looking for.
Jeff, do you think that we need executive sponsorship to achieve asset management?
The obvious answer is yes, we need executive sponsorship. Now, I caution a little bit, executive sponsorship makes it easy, but there's also every person doesn't know what they don't know. So if you're an executive and I don't know what you're trying to convey, that you're trying to say, hey, we got to get better at asset management, we got to get better at this. Our job is to lead upwards too. It isn't just leading people below us. We've got to lead upwards. We've got to communicate. We've got to talk to them. We've got to, plant the seeds. And sometimes you got to plant the seeds 3 or 4 times before the ground's fertile enough for them to sprout, right? So to just say, oh, I don't have an executive sponsorship, it's not going to work. If you believe in it, then you'll get others to believe in it. And whether those others be above you or beside you or below you, whatever, it doesn't matter. You've got to have the message because there's no path to success without everybody on board. So yes, obviously executive sponsorship is critical. Now, on another note on that, one thing we tend to do is go, oh, leadership's great, management boo, leadership great, management boo. But it doesn't work that way. You need management, you need structure and systems in place. And then you need to lead and inspire people to use the structure and systems. As yourself, you look at a reliability web, you're applying the Uptime management system to reliability web. That message is directly for you.
Exactly. What you have so much expertise, definitely. And what can you tell the audience in your perspective? What you have seen in the programs that are the most successful in asset management? What do you consider that these programs really have?
They have strategy. As you know, I'm a very strategic thinker. As you have also read The Art of War, right? Sun Tzu. It's a simple little book, but it has some terms in there about tactics and strategy. Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. Right? So you got to have strategy. You got to have a vision. So it all starts with having a vision of where you want to be and what you want to be. So if you take your organization, you picture utopia within your organization, paint that picture because you can have strategy but not destination. So to develop a strategy, I need that picture of utopia. So take your current situation, take whatever it is, and don't complain about it, don't gripe about it, don't quit, move to another job. Paint that picture, and when everyone has that picture and that vision, then you just develop strategies to get there. Now you will apply tactics to your strategy, and over the course of the strategy, the tactics will change. But it's that long-term vision to a destination, to utopia.
I love that, with the power of storytelling, the power of the visuals, the marketing, and especially me as an individual, where am I fitting in the bigger picture? That's a very important topic. Tell us a little bit about, with the Uptime elements on the asset management portion, we talk about corporate responsibility, strategic plans, and performance indicators. Tell the audience a little bit. I know you're passionate about performance indicators. What do you want to tell us about that?
Well, it's kind of a funny subject because we've fallen into this belief that we get a list of things that we should measure, and then we scold ourselves because we've never hit the targets that are perceived the best practices. But that's not really how performance indicators work. Performance indicators have a cause and effect, a leading and lagging, right? So with performance indicators, they start with your strategic objective. Now, if I'm measuring something, but there's no scenario where I can point to a strategic objective of a reason to measure it, why am I even measuring it? And we have so many, it's like almost like a catalog of these performance indicators that we use in maintenance reliability that I look at and go, well, why? No, that doesn't make sense. But if you can't draw a line of sight to your objectives. So again, when we start with a strategic objective, we apply a theme to it, a theme in this case being asset management. We're going to apply a theme to that, and maybe my corporate objective is to minimize risk to my organization. So my theme becomes asset management. My tactic is risk management, again, one of the elements. So to have good risk management, I want to create that. So I'm going to have a commitment. My leading indicators is always cause. So I would put together a commitment saying I'm going to evaluate and minimize risk to the best of my ability, or you put some kind of constraint around it, and then your events that have your risks that have manifested against your objective are what you're actually measuring at the end. So if you tie that string together, you've now got objective, right, applied to a theme with the tactic we're using. Your leading indicator is measuring the tactic that you're using, and your lagging indicators the result. So you're betting that you can attain that result by doing this action. And it's a system. It's not so for too long in our industry, we've looked at performance indicators as a number, not a system to create a number.
Yes, that is all right. Now tell us about what the audience wants to know. Uptime Elements Management System.
Yeah, it's a beautiful piece of work. As when Terry first presented the sort of vision to me, I sort of went, okay, let's see about this. Let's see what this is. Let's see how it fits. But to make something that's hand in glove with ISO 9000, with hand in glove with ISO 55000, and allows you to enable and deploy the elements within that system, of course, with people, culture, work, and the Internet of Things, right? We've now created a system, again, a management system to manage your execution and management of your elements, enabled through Internet of Things and supported by people, culture, and work. That one graphic Karen's developed is just conveys such a powerful message. It's an honor to work with Terry, really, fill in the blanks, getting the detail, developing the training content for that management system. And, I smile when every time you commit that I'm going to implement the management system here. It makes me smile, it makes my heart warm, because it fits anywhere. It fits any organization, any system.
And with any content, right, we need to take action. And now let's talk about that. What is the call to action to the audience regarding asset management? This is your opportunity to tell the world your thoughts to activate.
Well, I'm always going to start with the foundation, which in our world is the CRL. CRL tells you that you can take a stand and you can commit to true action. Now, if everyone had the CRL and they took that stand, commitment to action, now it just becomes awareness. And you don't know what you don't know, but we've provided tools and education and training and 26 years of content to understand what you need to know. So take the time to learn what you don't know. And again, asset management isn't extreme physics. It's simply putting management systems in place so we don't have for one, you have people dependency, which nothing wrong with having great people, but if your organization is all great people and they're baby boomer generation like myself and they're ready to retire, right, you're at risk, but put the systems in place to deliver the outcomes. Now, again, I'm going to go back to strategy. What is utopia? You are never going to get there without strategy and systems. So the systems should be working, again, with let's go with another element, continuous improvement in the asset management field. If you've got the continuous improvement loops built, it doesn't matter where you are. You build the continuous improvement loops so you get better and better at this part, better at this part. Now, how this works, you have the Uptime Elements Management System at a high level, and then you have the tactics that you do at the lower level. but they join each other. So you're working the CRL, people create awareness on the floor, people start implementing the elements, but you put systems in place to ensure we build continuous improvement loops. It doesn't matter if you're bottom quartile. If you've got the connection between top and bottom built with continuous improvement loops, you'll get there.
When you're talking the typical, if you don't know where you're going,
yeah,
any role can take you where, right? Exactly. On behalf of the Association of Asset Management Professionals, Asset Management Visionaries, we are so honored to have you. Thank you for the expertise and sharing with the community. And we want to remind you all, follow us, share. Sharing is caring. Smile. And we'll see you soon in another episode of Asset Management Visionaries, Shaping Tomorrow, which tomorrow is now. See you soon.